Hey guys, it's Fred from Fred's Garage. Welcome back. So, as you guys know, I have a base Sasquatch 2.7 hardtop, and I love it. I really love the vehicle. I love the looks, I love everything about it. There's a few things that kind of irk me that we'll do in a different video that I think could be done a little better. Just a few. But there's one thing that I hate, and I hate it every time I get in that car, and it's the steering wheel. Now I know I got a base because the base fit my budget with the Sasquatch and the 2.7, but I hate that plastic steering wheel. So I thought maybe I'll change the whole steering wheel. We're talking hundreds of dollars. So I decided I'm gonna wrap the steering wheel in leather. And I gotta tell you, I am very impressed at how it came out. I'm no seamstress, I'm no leather person. I'm just an average Joe with a plastic steering wheel. Let me show you how it came out, and then we'll go up to my table and we'll discuss it and we'll show you how I did it, okay? Here we go. All right, guys, take a look at this. Didn't that come out good? Let me bring you in real close. I'll show you the bottom, the sides, the top, the opposite side. It looks almost like it was factory. I'm gonna go back out for a deep view. And there she is. It came out unbelievable. And it only took 2 hours and about $25 to do. And it's real leather. Alright, so let's go upstairs and I'll talk to you and I'll show you how I did it. It's a simple process. You can do it. And it makes such an improvement on your car. I think it's the best improvement because you touch it every time you're in it. Alright, let's go upstairs. Hey guys, so we're in the house now. So this is how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you everything you need to know hands-on here, and then we're gonna go do it in the truck. And then at the end, I'm gonna tell you what I used, where you can get it, and the most important part of the whole thing is you have to get the right size. The Bronco steering wheel is very thick, okay? And also, for all my Maverick friends out there, the steering wheel is a little different on the Maverick, so stay at the end or fast forward it to the end, and we'll go over some ways of doing it on the Maverick that's a little different because the steering wheel is different, okay? But it'll work for Maverick people the same, and all the Maverick LX people, you'll be as happy as can be when you do this, okay? So let's start off with what we need. First thing I did is I drew a diagram, and I'm gonna bring you in closer and we're gonna work on it hands-on, okay? You're gonna need a wedge. Get this on Amazon. If I find a link, I'll put it on the bottom, okay? This came with a kit. It's a little plastic wedge. Just needed to just do a little bit to tuck in the leather, okay? It's nice that it's this wide because it fits perfectly under the spokes. You're gonna need your kit, and you're gonna need this tape. This tape, I'll put a link in the description. It's called T-Rex Super Glue Tape. It's basically a two-way tape, but there's no foam in it. So it's very thin. It looks like a regular piece of Scotch tape. And the reason you want to use this tape is it's strong, and it helps the back of the leather adhere to the steering wheel where you can't get the stitches, okay? And then it's so thin that you don't feel it back there, okay? And we'll show you this. So I'll put a link. It's called T-Rex Super Glue Tape. And Amazon, I think I got this at Home Depot, but. So let me bring you in. I'll explain it to you. I got this piece of junk steering wheel so we can go over the stitching, because that's a really important part if you want it to look good, is the stitching, okay? So let me bring you in so we can look at it. You can look at it from a top view. guys. Hopefully you can see my mock-up real well. Here's another thing you need. It's a pick or an awl. It's at like a 45-degree angle. It's very important. Okay, you can find one of these Amazon, Harbor Freight, wherever you gotta find it. But you need this to really make the laces tight and look good. Okay. And then you're gonna need the kit. I got this vinyl, so I can just show you on the mock-up how we're gonna do it. And I got some leftover thread, and I got the needle, leftover needle, okay? So, since I have the needle in my hand, let's thread it, and I'll show you how I like to knot it, okay? So we're gonna thread the needle. All right, and this is a blunt needle, so it doesn't pinch you, and this is wax thread that comes with it. So if you want to get different thread, it's wax thread. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a knot. All right, just a simple knot. And then I'm gonna try to do another knot, but I want this knot, to the best of my ability, land on top of the previous knot, okay, the prior knot. So watch. We're gonna close it up, and we're gonna try to get it to land right as close to on top as possible. And that makes a really big knot, but I'm not finished there. And we'll get back to that important message. So when we wrap the steering wheel, with the leather, it's gonna be very hard, very tight. It's tight, it has to be tight. And it's gonna have these perforated holes, okay? This is a cheap piece of marine vinyl I had laying around. The steering wheel cover that we're gonna get is real cowhide, real leather. It's very strong, but it's gonna have these perforated holes, okay? So you're gonna wrap it up like so. And the important thing is you wanna match your holes. So you want the hole to go to the straight hole, okay? So we're gonna go like that. Now I'm gonna show you the needle. The needle's gonna go, now let's bring that back. The needle's gonna go from the back to the front, okay? Just remember, back to the front. So I got my needle, I got my double knot. I'm gonna stick it through the hole, okay? When I pull it out, what I wanna do is I wanna stick my needle through my knot. You say, why are you doing that? You already got a knot there. Now watch, I'm gonna easily and gently, it's simple, it's just getting it started. All right, so what I wanna do is stick the needle through the knot, okay? So I'm gonna stick the needle, and we're gonna go right through that knot I just made. See how I did that? Look, let's put something behind it so you can see it. The needle's going through the knot. Why do I wanna do that? Because I don't want to take any chances of this knot coming through those holes on that leather, okay? I don't want to be halfway done sewing the steering wheel and then this knot comes through. So I'm going to pull it through. Now remember, this is going to be on the steering wheel, right? This would be around the steering wheel. I'm going to pull it through. So now I have the knot and the rope going through the knot, and then when I get to the end here, with my finger, my thumb, I'm gonna push it up and try to get it so it's out of the way. So when you look at it, you're just gonna see that, okay? So it's out of the way. And I'm gonna show you real quick what I mean by it. So now we got the knot. We're gonna bring the thread. We're gonna go through the matching hole, okay? And then I'm gonna make a double knot. The beginning and the end is the only places I'm going to do a double stitch. So let's see, I'll bring that up so you can see it. See how I've gone through? So I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to get it snug. I'm not going to go crazy tight on it, because if I go crazy tight, it's too hard for me to see the following hole. Now remember, on this Bronco, and I'm going to explain in a minute, we have to start in the middle and work our way down. Usually when you watch steering wheel wrap videos, they start here and they go all the way around in the end here. And then this way here, they tie their knot here. With the Bronco, we can't do that, and we're not gonna do that. We're gonna start here in the middle, and we're gonna go towards the spokes, okay? So I've gone through, now I'm gonna go back to the front, through the hole in the front, and that's why you wanna keep it loose, because if it's too tight, you can't see the holes, okay? And then I'm gonna go out the hole that corresponds with it. When I go to the right, I want my thread to the right, okay? I'm going to the right, I want the thread to the right. When I go to the left, I want the thread to the left. So now I'm gonna pull another one, okay? And now we're gonna finish this up. So we only got 2 more here. I'm gonna show you real quick. And some people, it'll be a lot easier if you take the airbag off and you take the steering wheel off and you do all that stuff. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm gonna do it on the car. So remember, see what I did there? It's looped, thread to the right, going to the right, thread to the right, okay? So once I get it to where I want it, and I missed a hole here, but this is just a test piece. We're gonna grab our awl and we're gonna pull it. And as you pull it from the back to the front, it tightens the previous knot. Pull it from the back to the front, it tightens the previous knot. Pull it back to the front, it tightens the previous knot. So on the Bronco, you'll see I'll keep going and going and going. And 3 or 4 times during the video, I'm gonna pull it. My goal is to get the knot. See how I cinch it up nice? I pull from the back to the front, it cinches it up nice. I hold it with my thumb. Grab the next one, pull it forward. Pull it forward. Grab it with my thumb. Grab the next one. Pull it forward, okay? Pull it from the back to the front, grab it with my thumb. And you're gonna end up with a nice stitch. Now, if you're a sewing person or a leather making person, you could do 100 times better stitch. But when you saw it on the Bronco, the stitches were perfect, okay? And we're gonna keep going, 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 going. So we got that. Now, another important thing I wanna tell you. Oh yeah, so we got that. Now at the end, when we get to this spoke here on the Bronco, okay, or any of these spokes, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a double stitch. So I started with double stitch. I'm gonna do another double stitch, okay? So now I got 2 stitches. Okay, make sure I'm tight. I got what I want, where I want it, okay? I'm not gonna tighten it anymore after this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring that in and I'm gonna loop the needle back through my stitch, okay? And we're gonna pull it in, pull it in, pull it in, keeping it tight. And then right before I close it off, I'm gonna loop my needle through it again. And then I'm gonna grab this rope and I'm gonna tighten it real tight, okay? Real tight. Now this vinyl's gonna tear and rip because it's junk, but the leather won't. Tight, tight. And then bring in my second stitch, and now we got a nice little knot. And then I'm gonna cut it as close as I can, and with my pick, I'm gonna tuck in the tail end. I'm gonna tuck it in underneath, in the middle, or behind the knot where you're not gonna see it. You're not gonna feel it, you're not gonna see it. You're gonna tuck it right in, okay? So that's how the stitches work. And we'll show you a lot more when we get in the car. Now, I made a mock-up of the Bronco steering wheel. If you look at the Bronco steering wheel, you'll see that the bezel goes around onto the steering wheel at these 3 spokes. That's why we can't start here and work our way around, okay? This bezel clips straight in. Now, as I said, you can take the airbag out, disconnect the battery, take the airbag out. You can pop off the bezel and unhook the switches, and then you can work on your steering wheel on the car with nothing around it, or you can actually take steering wheel off and work on it on a bench if you want. It's all on how much time you want. I didn't want to do that. What I did was I used this and I pried up just a little bit, just enough to get this underneath. Pried it up enough to get the leather underneath. So I'm going to show you how that works. The one thing that's really important when you get your cover, okay, is your cover is going to have a stitch seam. I drew it out on this. It's where the two pieces of leather were stitched together at the factory or wherever they make it. This stitched seam needs to go right in the middle of the bottom spoke, okay? You don't want it over here, you don't want it over here, and you definitely don't want it on the top. You want it right in the middle of the bottom spoke. So I'm going to show you how it works in the Bronco, but I'm going to show you real quick now. So I'm going to get my thing, and I'm just real slowly going to get under there. And that's going to pop up just like it did in this, okay? See how it popped up? With my cutout, it popped up. I'm going to get my steering wheel cover will already be on, okay? So I'm going to pop it up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. And I'm going to get it where I got an overlap for the middle. And when I say overlap for the middle, I'm going to move it so I know I'm going to have my seam in the middle, okay? And then I'm going to slowly get that out. It's not going to go in that far, so just put it in a little bit. You just want to put it in enough to get the leather to fit underneath, okay? Get the leather to fit underneath. And try to make sure when you initially do this, it's hard to move that leather. It's tough. That's in the middle like this, okay? Now, I personally, I left it overnight. I had it all tucked in, and I left it overnight. Okay, exactly where I left it overnight. Why did I do that? Because when I came out the next morning, I took it off, and there was a perfect, I'll show you on this one, there was a perfect line of where the bezel was, okay? So there was perfect like that. You could see it, it made an imprint in the leather overnight. So then what I did was I went out with a razor knife and I cut the leather, because I don't want all this leather bunching up to those clips, backing up and pushing that out more, okay? So by leaving it overnight, it made a perfect indent, so I knew exactly where the spokes were. If you don't have time to leave it overnight, what you could do is get yourself some sort of wax pencil or a Sharpie or something you can see, a black Sharpie, and you make the line, you follow the spoke, you pull it back out, and you want to leave probably a quarter to a half inch. I left about a half inch, a quarter to a half inch. So when I tuck it in there and sew it, it should be in there tight. And then remember, you just open it up enough to get the leather to go through. So you're opening it up the thickness of the leather, which is probably, the real leather is probably about that thick, okay? So you just open it enough to get that to slide through. You don't want to pop it off, and be careful, man. I'm not responsible if you break this, so you be careful with it. You're gonna open it up and you just move it up. Get the leather, tuck it up, use your fingers, tuck it all up, okay? And then you got it all on there, centered right. You got the three of them all in, and then we're gonna start the stitching process. It took me basically about an hour and a half to stitch it. So you're gonna have all three of your sections, okay? One more thing we're gonna talk about before we get into the arrangement of the stitching of these thumb handles. The reason I got the size I got and I found the size that we need is that it's tight for the arms, for the arm, but it has enough stretch that it'll close off the thumb parts, okay? Because the thumb parts, as you can see right here, the thumb parts stick out half inch or so. So when you get to that part, and I'll show you in the card, you want to pull it. I'll show you on the steering wheel. You want to get your leather and you want to pull it and massage it and use your fingers to just pull it and push it and massage it. And that will close the gap. So when you stitch it, okay, it'll close up like so. Now, in the real car, I went all the way down here, I tightened it, I massage the top, massage the top, massage the top, massage the top. I went all the way down here, I tightened it. I did it about 5 times each side, just so I could get it nice and perfect, okay? Now, let's talk about the sewing procedure. If you look at this diagram, you see my arrows, okay? I'm gonna suggest you start from the top one first, because by the time you're done spending an hour doing this, you're pretty tired, and that's when you're gonna get sloppy, okay? So this is nice and easy sewing, so you'll be tired, but it's just straight sewing. Here, you gotta work with these 2 thumbprints. So do this first. Now, I told you, if you look at a lot of the videos, they tell you to start here, work your way around. But because of this, folks, I'm starting in the middle. So when I go this way, remember, when I go that way, needle to the right, needle to the right, needle to the right, needle to the right. When I go to the left, we're gonna go needle to the left, needle to the left, needle to the left, okay? They're gonna actually start turning the threads are gonna go a different way, but I wanna start here. The reason I wanna start here, okay, is because I don't wanna be sewing this whole thing and then have a whole bunch of leftover leather here, okay? I can deal with a little bit of leather, I can tuck that in. But if I got a whole bunch of leather tucked over here and my cut now is down here, I'm gonna have to throw the whole thing away. So if I just start here and work my way down, by the time I get here, if I have a little bunched up area, I can tuck that in nicely, okay? My goal is to have nothing bunched up, but you never know what happens. And the same with here. I'm gonna start here and work here. My double knots, I'm gonna do a double thread here, right? I'm gonna come down the end, double thread it here, and I'm gonna knot it here and tuck in my knot. Tuck in my knot, okay? And when I'm all done with that, we're gonna turn the steering wheel, because I don't wanna work from the bottom, I wanna work from the top. I'm gonna turn the steering wheel. I'm gonna start here and there. Start here and there. Turn the steering wheel, start here and there. Remember, when I'm going to the right, my thread's going to the right. When I'm going to the left, my thread's going to the left, okay? You say, well, what are you gonna do with this T-Rex tape? I'm gonna show you. On the back of the steering wheels on the Bronco, you're gonna have a big piece of plastic back here and 2 pieces of plastic back here. You can't get the threads. Now, we tucked in the fronts. But the back, it's gonna be tight, because when you sew, you're gonna try to get it as tight as you can on these corners, okay? That's very important. You get them as tight as you can on the corners. But when you get back here, you're gonna have a space probably about that wide where nothing. So that's where you're gonna get a little piece of this tape, and you're gonna stick it inside. I'll show you, we're gonna do it together. You stick it inside your leather, so when you get in there, all you gotta do is peel it and stick it on, and this tape will hold it. I'll give you a clue about this tape. I'll give you a hint. If I need 5 inches, say I need that much tape, I'm gonna cut 6 inches or 7 inches, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is leave me what's a tag end. I don't have a knife, but I'm gonna cut a piece like this, peel the tape off here, okay? Now this is just to show you, but I'm gonna cut a piece like that, leave, and have a piece where there's no tape, okay? Because I tell you, when you're back there and you only got a little bit of space, trying to get this tape and this back piece off is very hard. So cut it with a knife nice, leave about 1 inch, stick it on your leather. So now you'll be in the back, you'll be almost close to sewing. You got it where you want it. Do it before you finish the sewing, because you'll never get in there. And you'll be able to feel this tag end, peel the tape off, and then you slide it in nice, get it in nice, then finish the sewing, okay? Finish it at the corners where it's nice and tight. All right, it's enough of me mumbo-jumboing. Let's go out to the car, and I'll show you how I did it in the car. And I'm telling you, if you got a base Bronco, you got a Maverick LX, you got Ranger LX, or any other car that has a plastic steering wheel, this company that I got the leather from, This technique, if you can use this technique in this on the Maverick, it's different. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. It makes it look great. It's great. It's the best 30 bucks I think I've spent on that Bronco, okay? Because I touch it every day. All right, let's go to the car. All right, guys, I want you to take a really good look at this here. You notice I use this pry tool. All right, you can get it on Amazon, a couple of bucks. This pry tool will fit right underneath here and lift this trim off. Now, some people can take the airbag off, disconnect your battery, take the airbag off. It's pretty easy to get off, and then take this trim off. I'm not going through all that. So as you notice, I tucked it in real good here, here, and definitely under here, okay? So you just stick this in here. It pulls it up enough so you can tuck the leather underneath it. And I did that last night. And the reason I did it last night and let it sit overnight is because I want some indents. There's way too much leather underneath these controls. So now I'm just going to go trim this a little bit. So basically like that much. So when I tuck it back in, we won't have all that leather under there pushing this out a little bit. Because it is pushing it out a little bit, okay? So what I'm going to do is, watch. You just use your trim tool. Make yourself a little bit of space in there. And then just pull it out. And you can see the indent right there. See it? And we're going to do this side here too. Pull it out. See the indent? I don't know if it's hard to see on the camera, but there it is. Under here, trim tool, pull the leather out. There's just way too much leather under the steering wheel, for my liking anyways, okay? So, let's take it to the bench, and then I'm just going to trim a little bit on that, 3 places, and we'll go from there, okay? Let's go on over. All right, so we're back at the table. And if you can see there, hopefully you can see it really, really well. You see the indent from the spoke? Now, there's just way too much leather in there. Okay, so I'm going to trim a half moon out of the 3 spots. So when I tuck it in under the trim, it's not going to bunch up around the clip. All right, so I got my old cutting board here. I got a razor blade. And we're going to just make a half moon cut. Real easy. Let's start in the middle. I'm going to cut it a little bit. Cut it a little bit. And this is real leather, so it's thick. Need a couple of passes. I think I got it on that one. Good. So see that? Just a half moon. Come on out of there, will you? Well, that's one thing I can say. It's good leather. You see the piece I took out? Just a little half moon. I'm going to move to the other piece. This is the bottom, okay? Now, from down here, it's got the double stitch. And we're going to take some of this out. It's big down the bottom, so this piece is going to be pretty big for me. And I want to leave basically ½ inch to quarter to ½ inch. This way here, it gives me plenty of room there we go. Nice. See that? Quarter to ½ inch. So it gives me plenty of room to tuck that in without having it bunch up to anything under there, because you know there's a lot under there, okay? And then we're going to do the last spoke right here. I tried doing this with scissors, but it's real leather, and it's not easy to cut, honestly. I mean, I'm not a leather workman, you know what I mean? I'm just an average dude with a Bronco. That wants to upgrade the steering wheel a little. But I tell you, this stuff, I'm pretty impressed. This is pretty pretty strong leather. Yeah, this one I tried to do with scissors initially. And just take your time. And you just want to get a little bit off. So you want to take about that much off the top. The bottom, you're going to take quite a bit off. And then when you tuck it back in, we're going to go do that in a minute. She'll tuck in better. And leave, you know, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. So you can get it right in there real good. End up like that, okay? And on this double stitch, we're going to put a little adhesive or something to keep that from coming off. So now the other thing I want to do is where the spokes are, behind the spokes I can't sew it. So I got some double-sided tape here. I'm going to get a piece of double-sided tape and I'm going to tape it where the spoke is on the opposite side. All 3 spots. So this way here, get off. And then go, I'm going to put a double on this one too. So we got double. And then we're going to do something about that stitch. I don't want this stitch because I cut it. I don't want this stitch because I cut it to unravel on me. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on that. Part of me says I can even put a piece of this tape there. Let's try a piece of tape there. And that'll help hold the stitches in place. Perfect. All right. Let's go stick it on the cart and go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Sorry about the lighting. I live in Florida and it's a dark, stormy day. But let's take a good look at this. And as you can see, it came out pretty good so far. I'm still working on these to get the thumbprints. I'm just gonna stretch it. I'm gonna use my leather to make that leather stretch. The other key trick is you need one of these. You need like an L-shaped pick. And what you do with the pick is you stick it in there, you pull it down towards you, and then you go to the next one, pull it down towards you. Next one, pull it down towards you. That tightens it up real nice, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is right here is the only spot. It needs about 1/8 of an inch. I'm gonna put a little bit of heat from my hands, and I'm gonna close it. I almost closed it fully up on this side, and we're gonna let it stretch. Okay, give it some time. If you remember, when I first started, I started from here, and I went this way, and then I started from here, and I went this way. The reason was I wanted this to come out perfect, and I think it came out pretty damn good, honestly. So I get to the end. I've left about 1 foot of string on each side, okay? Because as this leather starts to stretch, I'm going to tighten it all up at the very end and then tie knots. Remember the double-sided tape I put on the back? Well, when I got down to here, I unpeeled it, and it sticks to the back nicely, okay? And once I tighten this side, it's going to be real tight. But you can see I tucked it in. It's good. I'm going to get better down here when I get down here, but you can see how nice it is tucked in around the bezel. And how nice it is here, tucked in around the bezel, right? Looks like almost it's supposed to be there. Now, like I said, if you want to take the airbag, there's 2 pins on the side. Airbag comes out. Disconnect your battery first. You don't want to have any problems with this. This will pop out. Disconnect your switches. You take all that out, and then you can work on the steering wheel here. 1 bolt in the middle, a couple more plugs. You can take the whole steering wheel, work on it on a bench. It's all in how much time you want to spend and how perfect you want to get it. For me, this is coming out perfect. Look at the top there. It's real leather. It's coming out good. The stitches look good. We're going to leave it out if I ever get some heat here in Florida, we're going to leave it out with the top off and let it heat it up and move it some more. But, and these pieces here, I'm going to use my fingers, get them to close up, stretch. It's leather, it'll stretch. I'm going to use, as I said, my leather to stretch that leather. So I'm going to start on this side here, and I'll show you how I started it, okay? And we'll go from there. Now, it's going to be way too hard for me to do it in this angle. So let's start the car, and let's turn the steering wheel up. And we'll do it right there, okay? It'll be a lot easier. So first, we're going to get the thread. Now, like I said, I left a foot on each side so I can finish off my knots, okay? And you know, that's because Ford has these 3 beautiful spokes that the leather fits in. Thank you very much, Ford, for making that nice and easy. We have 2 of these, right? We started off with 2, we still have 2, and I still have, Jesus, probably 5 feet of this stuff. So this is what I'm going to do to make it nice and tight. I'm going to tie a knot. Tie a knot. Try to have the smallest tag end I can. I don't really need a tag end. Okay? So now I got a little knot. Hopefully you can see it in there. And then what we're going to do, I know the lighting's horrible. I'm sorry. Let me put this light on my shirt. Maybe that'll help. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another knot, and I'm going to try to get that knot on top of the previous knot, okay? See it? Can you see it? And then we're going to get that nice, and we make a knot on top of a knot. But I'm still not 100% sure that this isn't going to fall through, right? I'm not 100% sure. And I'm going to start on this side and end up here because I got a lot of spots here that I can hide rope and knots and wrinkles, okay? So this is what we're going to do. Let's get our needle. We're going to find the back. Remember, back to the front, back to the front, back to the front, okay? We're going to find our back hole as far up as I can find it. As far up as I can go. And there she is. So I'm going to get this thing in there, get that hole started. Okay. They go through the holes pretty easy. So here she is. We're pulling it through, okay? Let me fix this light. We're going to pull it through, pull it through. Now always remember, I'm always going to turn it so it's on facing the way I want to go. Okay? So this way I'm going to go to my left. When I turn the wheel the other way, I'm going to go to my right. What I'm talking about is I want the thread to be on the left side of the piece that's already going through. So whenever I turn, I'm always going to be on the left side, okay? And when I do this side, I'm always going to be on the right side. This way my stitching looks nice. Now, you can just go with that knot, but that knot pulls through, and now you're going to have all kinds of problems, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle, and I'm going to go through that knot. I am going to go through the thread, through the knot. There we go. And I went through the needle, through the knot, okay? So now, not only do I have the knot, but I got a loop, so it's never going to come off, okay? So, but the trick here is I want to have the knot hidden, right? I want to have the knot hidden. So I'm going to go like that. And we're going to pull it up here, and we're going to get that knot pushed back there as far as we can with our finger. I'm using my finger to push the knot in as far as I can. Okay. Now that's never coming off. Now, can you see right here? There's the first hole, okay? The first open hole. So, we're going to go through this hole. Go right through that hole, keeping this thread on the upside, right? And when I'm going this way, I want this thread on the right, and I want my needle to go through the left. So I'm going to come through here. Come through here.
And I want to go to the adjacent hole right behind it, right? The one that's supposed to be matching this one. You'll see them. Okay, so we're going to get that through. It's too hard to do at this angle, so I'm going to get that through. See how it's always on the right? Okay? Now, don't make a mistake. Make sure you go through the back. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to go through the adjacent hole that's supposed to be there. There she is. She slides right in once you find the hole. They're not the easiest things to find. Bring her back in. And now tighten her up. Now look. I'm tightening her up. We're going to tighten this. And when I pull it through, see how I'm on the left side? I'm on the left side because I'm going this way to the left, okay? And then pulling it. I'm not going to go crazy tight because I'm going to use my pick at the end to make sure all the wrinkles are out. If I go crazy tight, I won't be able to see the holes inside, okay? So now I'm out. Remember, back, forward, back, forward. Let's do it again. Here's another hole. I know the lighting stinks, I know. My luck. Florida, no light. No sunlight. But I should have waited, but I have the time to do it now, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so I went straight through on that one because it's once you get to an open part, it's easy to go straight through. So now I'm pulling it out. Okay, we pulled it out. Now listen, it's important. Make sure we come back through. Back through. Keep the thread to the right because I'm going to the left and the needle to the left, okay? Pull it through and then you'll end up with really nice stitches, okay? I got a lot of play on that front one. So what I'm gonna do, on that top one I got a lot of play, so I'm gonna take my little pick here and I'm gonna stick it through the thread and then just use this to pull the top one tighter, okay? Get it tighter, and then there we go. And then we're gonna tighten the whole thing up at the very end, okay? But that, I'm telling you, I'm no seamstress. I'm no leather person. I'm just a person with a plastic steering wheel. And you know what? I think it's looking pretty acceptable. Yeah, I could go spend $700, $800, $900 on a Raptor wheel. Sure can. And if that's what you want to do, that's beautiful. Those Raptor wheels are beautiful. But for $20, $20 to $30, you can get this look and you'll be 100 times better. Just take your time and do it nice and easy, okay? So I went through, back. I'm going to the left. This is on my right. This is on my left. We pull it a little snug. Not crazy snug because I can't see if I pull it crazy snug, okay? I'm going to go finish both sides and then we'll be back. All right, guys, we've moved outside and we're almost done. And I think it looks pretty good. You give it some time with some heat in your hands, it'll conform perfectly. Get some of these wrinkles out. So I left this one so I can show you how we're going to do it. You got the thumb rests. I got this one almost closed up. What you do is you just, as I said, use your leather to get that leather to stretch a little. And get it right in there nice. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take this, the pick. Remember we went out, through, out, forward, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go down the seam and we're going to pull the rope out from the back, bringing it forward, use our fingernail to hold it, out, bring it to the front, get the leather to match up, make it nice and snug. See how much we're getting already just from doing that? Close that gap by the thumb point. There we go. In the seam. Pull it out. Close that gap by the thumb point. In the seam. Pull it out. And that'll tighten it up real good. Now you see what I just did there? I picked it from the inside. Don't want to pick it from the inside. When you get the next one down. Next one down, right here. Pull it out. Pull it out. Get the seams nice and together. Alright, see how much comes out? Almost a whole loop. And she was pretty snug. Okay, we're almost to the end. Now, if you remember, I started from here, worked down, and I left about a foot of thread. So I'll show you. Here's the thread with the needle. Okay, so I'm going to tighten it up. I did a double loop here. Tighten it up nice. I'm going to let it sit out in the sun, try to get this to stretch a little more, get another little bit out of that thumb hole so I can get it as nice as tight in this one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it through, do a double knot, feed it through again, double knot, and then I'm going to tuck the knot into the seam in the middle. Okay? And then you end up with nothing. But take a look. I think she looks pretty good, especially when you give her a little bit of time and the leather will mold to the steering wheel better. But man, what an improvement. These are in nice and tight. This bottom one's in nice and tight. The glue in the back's holding it nice and tight. And glue on the bottom's holding it nice and tight. If you have any wrinkles you don't like, you just get your pry tool and just work them right back under the trim. Get it right under the trim. There you go. We're done. I'm going to meet you guys back up at the front table, and then we're going to talk about the size, where I bought it, what I got. And this will work for Ford Maverick LX too. I think that looks pretty damn good. I do. All right. We'll meet you back at the table.
Okay, we're back. You did great. Looks good. Let's talk about where I got it, what it is, and what you need to get, and the size. The most important part's the size, okay? I'm going to put a link in the comments in the bottom so you can link to that, and I'll put a link to this tape, okay? But take a good look there. It's called Ollie Park, okay? You'll find it on Amazon. It was $19-20. Comes in different colors, and different sizes, okay? The important thing for us is right here. Can you see it? It says medium plus, okay? Medium plus. Very few of them come in medium plus. If you get only medium, it won't wrap around. That Bronco steering wheel is extremely thick, and it definitely will not get around the thumb ports, okay? If you get a large, it doesn't make the width of the leather any larger, it just makes the circumference larger, so you don't want a large. You want medium plus. Ollie Park. Now, you can do whatever you want to do, it's your Bronco. I'm not going through all that work to use some cover that they tell you it's made from synthetic leather or smells like leather or might have thought it was leather and it's really some other deal, okay? Because I don't want it peeling, I don't want it coming apart, I don't want it falling apart in a year. I want real leather, okay? For all my vegan friends, I'm sorry, but I need some cowhide on that steering wheel. And this is real leather, okay? So Ollie Park. I'll put a link below. Good luck. Post a picture of what you did. And if you can, and if you made it this far, please subscribe, hit the like button. I'm trying to do 1 or 2 videos a week, and it would really help me out if you did, okay? Thank you so much. And I wish you the best. Come on, get rid of that plastic steering wheel. Now, for my Maverick friends out there, my Bronco friends, we're pretty much, this video is done for you guys. My Maverick friends, stay on. I'm going to give you some hints on the Maverick steering wheel. The Maverick steering wheel is a little different, so the procedure is going to be a little different, okay? But it still should come out just as perfect. So let me bring you back over to the overhead view, and we'll talk about the Maverick and how it's different, okay? And what you have to be careful for, okay? Thanks. All right, my Maverick friends, we have a little difference here. On the Maverick, these two posts here, they don't come out over the steering wheel, okay? And the bottom one does. Now, the bottom one doesn't pry up like the Bronco does. The bezel is 2 pieces on the Maverick, okay? The bottom one is very, very finicky. It can break easy. It doesn't come up. What it has is 2 pins. So if you look at my fingers, there are 2 pins that go in like this. I'm gonna post a picture in between this video to show you the pins, okay? They go in. So when you get your pry tool, be extra gentle in getting something in there. I might even think about using, say, a credit card. Make believe this is a credit card, get that just enough in there, okay? And just enough to see if you can get the leather going through. Just to get the leather under there, okay? I don't own a Maverick, so please let me know how you guys made up if you can pry that up a little bit, but be very careful because of the few videos I've watched. The Maverick's very delicate, okay? Now, if you can't pry it up, if you can't get it up, what I would do is I would put my leather on it, and then the leather would be on it like this, right? Because we want this to be in the middle. The leather would be like that. I would mark it with a Sharpie, okay? So I got this leather. I would draw it with a Sharpie, and I would try to tuck it underneath. If I can't tuck it underneath, I would probably just cut it so it matches the bottom of that, okay? And then I would put some extra tape in here on the inside and the back. So I'd have tape on the inside and tape in the back, and I'd get that in there as perfect as I can, making sure that I leave enough so when it overlaps, make sure I leave enough so when it overlaps, it's gonna go where I want the stitches to be, okay? So cut your U and make it overlap like that. See it? But that's only if you can't tuck it under there. I wish I had a Maverick to look, and I don't. Now, remember, the company we used, Ollie Park, and for the Bronco, I used medium plus, okay? Medium plus. I don't know if the Maverick steering wheel is the same width as the Broncos, okay? This medium, it does 14.5 inches wide. So measure it across, get a measuring tape, run it across, measure it. It should be 14.5, okay? I'll post a picture of this, and I'll post the size chart. So you can look at the size chart, okay? Now, I don't know if the Maverick steering wheel is as bulky as the Bronco steering wheel. Okay, I do know the Maverick has the thumb ports. I do know that. So, get yourself a piece of tape, painter's tape. And what I did, I'll show you right here. You put the painter's tape, okay, right where you want it. You wrap it around, and you make it match. So you want it to match. You want it to butt up against each other. You don't want it to overlap. You want it to butt up against each other, okay? And I made a mark with a Sharpie and I cut it. And then what I did is I laid it down. I got a tape measure and I measured the distance, okay? On the Bronco, I think it was 4.5 inches.
And that's why I got the medium plus, because the plus part was wider. If the Maverick isn't 4.5 inches, you might need to go with just the medium, okay? But remember, you want this part here to basically touch, because you still need to stretch it over the thumb holes, okay? And if anybody gets around to doing it, please post in the comments what size ollie part did you use. Did you use the medium plus, like the Bronco, or did you use just the medium, okay? Now let's talk about the sewing. Remember how I told you on the Bronco? We're starting from the front, going down. Well, on the Maverick, I'm not going to do that because these don't touch on the Maverick, okay? So what we're going to do on the Maverick is we're going to start here, and we're going to go all the way around till we end up here, okay? And then I'm going to go 2 or 3 times with the pick, and I'm going to tighten it, and then I'm definitely going to spend some time on these right here, okay? I guess you could start in the middle and work your way down on both sides if you want to. You could do that, okay? And that probably make it a little bit easier for you as far as the thumb holes. And here's the other trick you're gonna have to do with the Maverick, because you don't have the piece to tuck in. So when the Bronco, when it got to the spoke, it went underneath the spoke. So maybe my finger is maybe this is the Bronco spoke. It went underneath the Bronco spoke. The Maverick doesn't have that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go through, okay, just like I showed you in the other video. Just like I showed you in the video, we're gonna go through, okay? And we're gonna get it nice and in there like we want it, okay? But now what happens is we can't go because of the spoke, right? So this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go through the front. We're gonna go like this. Okay, so watch. We're gonna go through every hole in the front till we clear the spoke. Okay? Till we clear the spoke, we're gonna go through the hole in the front. Unfortunately, because you don't have that piece, it's not gonna look as neat as it does in the Bronco, okay? But this is gonna work fine. And then when you get past the spoke, see how I just passed the spoke? Now I'm gonna go all the way down and get the hole on the bottom. All right, back to the front, get the hole on the bottom. And we're gonna pull it in, and that's gonna tighten these sides. So these sides get tight and nice, okay? See how it's tightening it in? They're all the way down. That broke because this is cheap vinyl. That leather is not breaking. And we're gonna go all the way through again to the hole on the bottom. And then we're gonna tighten it up. So what you'll end up with, okay, what you'll end up with is this tucking in like so. So it'll look like that, okay? It'll look like this. And that'll be perfect, okay? It'll look good. And you go all the way around. Do the same thing on this spoke. And then when you get to this spoke, hopefully you can get it underneath there and tuck it in. Use a credit card, use a little pry tool. Just be careful you don't break those tabs, because the tabs go this way. Or cut it up and tighten it up and use the tape to hold it in, okay? I got confidence in you guys. You'll do good. For one of you guys gets it done, please post a comment, post a photo, make your own video, okay? Good luck. And remember, on the Maverick, start here, go all the way around, or start here and come down to the bottom, okay? I don't know. I would probably start here and go all the way around. Just working on those thumbnails, okay? All right, good luck. Trust me, you'll be so happy. Post the video, and please subscribe and hit the like button. Have a good day, everybody.